Welcome back to another Will Interviews. Today I'm here with
Logan, Headphone Provisions, HP, whatever you want to call me.
Awesome. And could you talk about what you do with DJing and everything?
Yeah, so I started DJing probably like a year and a half ago, seriously. But I started making music like when I was super young, and that kind of led me to where I am now. But I recently just started taking DJing seriously, I would say like within a year or so.
hmm And when you were making music earlier, was it like, okay, I made this music, I want to incorporate it into a live setting, or did the DJing part come about with some other thing that was going on?
No, honestly, kind of got peer pressured into DJing.
Really? From who?
My homies.
Wait.
I wouldn't say like peer pressured, but like they were planting seeds or like throwing it at me, saying like you should do it, because like I've just always been a huge music guy, and anytime I'm at parties, I'm the swipe the aux guy, and just
Really?
like yeah, I don't know, like I've always been that way, and I started making music when I was like 13, but just never did anything with it. It was just like something I always like, I don't know,
Just did for fun?
yeah, or just like I was way too self-conscious to put it out, and way too picky, and way too like much of a perfectionist. I don't
Yeah.
know. And so essentially I feel like I was really, when COVID hit, starting to like make beats a lot. Like I was doing it every day, and it was like the first time I really started even liking my music. And like it really just started with making beats, but then like I was like singing and like doing my own vocals and like trying to collaborate with other people, which like I had never done in like my teen years, I feel like.
It was just turning serious kind of a little bit.
Yeah, it just felt like it was like making sense to me. Like it wasn't just like a hodgepodge hobby that like everybody has, you know. And
Yeah.
so then my homies were like, you know, put your shit out or whatever. And then I don't know, I just never did. And then my homies were just like, bro, you should DJ. And like, I don't know, I like had heard that a million times and was like, I just don't think I'm a DJ. Like,
Yeah,
I just don't
you
think it
didn't.
makes sense for me. I'm not like, I would much rather make music and then somebody can play it. I don't want to play either my own music, and I don't want to play other people's music. I don't
You
know.
didn't like the live element?
I don't know. I don't know if it's because I didn't like the live element. It was just, I don't know. Maybe I'm being like, what's the word? Like, I don't know what the word is.
Too humble?
Uh, I'll choose that word instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And I guess I don't know. A little bit of time went by, and I just felt like, I don't know. I just was like, screw it. I'm gonna order a turntable and just like practice around. Even if I don't take it somewhere and do it, at least like I'm gonna practice and learn in case like the occasion arises where like maybe that's something I should be doing, you know. So,
Yeah, if you could just pull it out and like say your friends are over
yeah,
and they wanted to hear something. Like,
yeah. I
just
don't
do
know.
it in that way. Yeah.
I was already making beats, and so I was like, you know, I want to put a turntable in here, and like if I'm not feeling like making beats, at least I can like spin something, and just like, because I love listening to music, so like
Yeah.
why wouldn't I like listen to music in that form factor? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I don't know. I guess like I really didn't have any money, so I just like threw a turntable on a firm and just paid for it monthly, and was like, I'm gonna do gigs and just pay this off with my gig money. And then like I did that obviously in like a few months,
Yeah.
which was like probably the best way to do it, because honestly, like you can get some cheap DJ equipment, but like I'm kind of like a purist, and I like the nice stuff. And
Yeah,
so
you want
I
to do
just-
some.
yeah,
nice.
I went out of my way, I
Mhm.
guess. And so yeah, that's
But it
eventually
seems
how I
like
got
it
into
seems like it worked out. Yeah, it seems like you paid it back.
No, I did, and it's like paid off. I feel like in multiple ways, because I feel like in like hindsight, it was more or less me trying to come up with a reason to put myself out there in
Yeah.
an artistic way, without it being like my actual own music that like I'm very protective of.
Mhm.
I can easily, like, somebody can stare at me, I could play a song. It's not my song, so if the
Yeah.
song sucks, I'm like, well, it's not
Yeah, I
mine,
didn't
you
make
know
this,
what I
yeah,
mean?
no, it's
I'm just
not-
spinning it.
it's that guy's
You know?
fault, yeah.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah, but essentially that's how it's happened. So
Yeah. And when you started DJing, like you said that year and a half ago, what kind of music were you playing, and how has that changed in the time that you've become a DJ and played more sets?
that's a great question. I guess when I first started DJing, I was really scared of like playing stuff that I don't really listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when I say that out loud, it makes sense, but like, I guess like stuff like house music and drum and bass, jungle, like all that crazy stuff that's like really obviously common in DJing, the stuff that like I don't really listen to a whole lot on my own time.
Yeah.
But I know it's stuff that's great to DJ because it's easy to like mix, especially when you're learning.
Yeah.
And just like it's usually a same tempo that keeps a crowd going. So it's like you can spin for hours on house music and like never lose tempo. It's really hard to mess up. And so I started that, I guess, and it made me open my mind up, I guess, to like a lot of different types of music that like I wasn't listening to.
Yeah.
Because I just listened to a lot of rap.
Yeah, me too.
And like, and now it's like rap's good to spin or whatever, but I don't think it has like that effect of like keeping people interested and drawn in for like long periods of time.
Yeah.
You can do like a quick, like if you, for instance, you go to a concert and it's like the DJ's hyping the crowd up, that's like a 15-minute, 20-minute set.
Yeah,
and then
but
they're
it's
ready to
quick
see their
and,
artist.
and momentary. It's not
Yeah.
like, I feel like the house stuff can be sustained for like you said, like
Exactly.
an hour.
Yeah, and there's just it's such a broad like style, like electronic in general, in my opinion, is like the most broad style of music that has so many. It's a huge umbrella.
Yeah.
There's so many different styles under it. And there's obviously rap's obviously really huge, but like I just feel like even though I listen to a lot of rap and I probably would be more comfortable spinning it, I pushed more towards like a lot of just house and techno and stuff like that, which I'm super grateful for because I listen to it a lot now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Has it ever come across your mind to like do a fusion of both of them, or just have like take vocals and really just make a whole set that kind of incorporates both of those worlds?
Yeah. I was obviously a huge SoundCloud kid, like through high school and like junior high, and even now, I guess. But there was like a time where I didn't like really listen to it that much. But now I'm like, doing a huge like deep dive into SoundCloud again because there are crazy remixes and like crazy people who just post the most wild, absurd music in there. From like for instance, I just found this like Chief Keef like drum and bass like kind of mashup that was like super dope, and like that's something I could get off in a setting like you're explaining, where if I'm trying to mesh like the culture of hip hop into like some random club scene where like probably maybe a lot of those people don't listen to Chief Keef.
Totally.
That probably could hit there. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Hip hop's really hard to DJ in a long form scenario, but I want to try to get there. I would love to be somebody's like some rapper's DJ though. That'd just be so ill.
You go on tour with somebody?
For sure. I get like way more like hype and fun out of DJing rap than I would out of like house and stuff like that. But house is a lot, or just electronic in general is a lot more comfortable to spin.
Yeah, and it seems easier.
Yeah, for sure. Super easy.
So when you're DJing and say you have a set that you have like laid out, or just have kind of a scope of where you want to go, do you stick to the set and really just like rely on that, or do you ever like take requests from people?
No, I hate taking requests from people unless it's like, if I'm using my own board, I'm subscribed to a software called Beat Source where like it's pretty much like you can find like almost all popular music on there. It's stuff that like they acquire the licensing to, so you can just pay a subscription and use the music.
It's like Spotify for DJing.
Exactly. Yeah. And because realistically, like you're technically not supposed to get paid playing other people's music, obviously.
Yeah.
But BeatSource makes it easier, but they don't have everything, obviously. But in that scenario, if I'm running off that and somebody's like, hey, play Drake or whatever, then like that's not a big deal. But like I feel like I'm being paid to do a job here.
Yeah.
I'm reading the crowd. If the crowd's like not liking my music and then somebody else is going to come up and request, I'll take that. But if like the crowd's chilling, I'm not having any issues, and you're coming up and trying to like switch up a whole vibe, then I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean?
It's just momentary. It depends on what's going on.
There's been times where I'll just say no, and then there's been times where I have taken requests and it panned out great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was going to say in regard to like a set that like I either kind of plan out or if I stick to it. I tried that once and like it did not work out.
Like a whole structured set where you had everything
I
planned?
like practiced the whole set, like, and the
Really?
way I was transitioning and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm just gonna do this. It's gonna make my set hella clean, and it's just gonna go great. And then like I went and played it and like ran out of time and missed like 5 songs. And like I had talked to one of my homies who was also a DJ. Is like, I don't know, in my opinion, like one of my favorite DJs in the local scene, but Radical Jones. Do you know him?
No, I don't.
Josh.
No.
He's such a dope homie, and he's really good.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from him. But I pretty much told him, I was like, yo, I planned this whole set out, and it didn't work. And he was like, I very like briefly was like, I don't even do that anymore. Like, there's just no point, because like there's so many variables that can change in a live scene that like you may have to like switch up the sound, or like you may get requests, or like you may just not be feeling like that's the vibe you want to take it. And it's just a huge waste of time. However, though, practicing your music and just knowing your music, that's like the best thing you can do, because like I can play a song live and I'm already thinking of the next song because I've practiced it so many times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you already know
structure it that way. But as far as like, I have this hour set and it's all these songs I'm going to play and I'm going to spin them this exact way.
Yeah, it's kind of like you would do for like a concert. You can't really do that on like a live event setting.
Yeah, you definitely have to be impromptu and improvise a little bit. It's just like jazz, you know? Like,
yeah,
you would never see a jazz musician playing the same like piano riff or
just
whatever.
the same show twice.
Right.
I'd say, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So does that improvisation and that kind of like having to be on your toes, does that add to the stress of the event? Or like when you're in it, does it not really phase you because you're just going? For you personally,
I stress like so bad right before the event.
Really?
And then as soon as I'm DJing, it goes away. I don't know. And it's like, you don't really have time to like think about the fact that you're probably stressing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I like even right now, like I have shout out Hayden and Happy Wine Club and Lander, but I'll be DJing there, and right now I'm probably so stressed about it just because I want to play good music.
Yeah.
But I'm certain when I step on the board, I'm not going to be stressed. I don't know.
And when
it
are you?
Always happens that way.
When are you DJing? You can tell everybody.
New Year's Eve at Undercurrent. Come through. Happy Wine Club. It's their 1st year anniversary. I'm DJing with Andy Doors, Gabo, and Manu. It's gonna be sick.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you were saying, that stress before the event, does it leave you kind of when you press play on the first song, or kind of transition into the first song, or is it after that first transition? Because it's like
after the first few songs.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like I'm literally like at a Rainbow Room, for instance. There was like so many people there on Halloween, and I was playing CDJs for my first time, and like. So it was like a combined stress of A, not knowing the board very well, and B, there was so many people there. Yeah. And like, I didn't know, like, should I keep it housey? Should I like throw some rap in? And like, it was just like the crowd was already so hype, but I don't even think that they would have even noticed if I screwed up.
Yeah, or cared. Like they're just kind of there for you, which is nice.
And it was like, I don't know, it was like maybe after my first couple of songs, I like completely forgot the fact that I was A, doing CDJs for my first time, and B, there were like 600 people in that room.
You were just in the loop, yeah.
Yeah, and then the crazy thing is like, I don't know, it seemed like everybody was vibing with like house, and like I kept it going, but then some girl just like held up her phone, speaking of song requests, she was just kept saying Drake, and like obviously I'm just like laughing or whatever, because it's like, of course everybody wants to hear Drake. But the theme song that Rainbow Room had used for their marketing or for their promo was Rich Baby Daddy by Drake.
Oh, so you played. Oh, that's a great one.
So I love that song.
Yeah,
and that's a dance-y song. It's not like a rap song.
That'll
by
go
Drake.
in a club, yeah.
That's a club song for sure.
Totally.
And so I was like, I'll do that. That like 2 and 2 came together there, and so I played that, and then like I completely shifted into rap, and like my set was only like 30 minutes. It was supposed to be like an hour, but we just ran late on time. But the crowd went even crazier when I started throwing rap on, because it was like I started like throwing 21 Savage and like old, like kind of old bops, and so stuff like that is like, I don't know, that made it really fun for me, so.
Yeah, that's great. Can you remember a time where it was like that 1-for-1 like amazing crowd reaction, like you were talking about? Like what's been your favorite moment DJing, just in it or before it, whatever?
That's definitely one of them. But I definitely have to say, I had I got to DJ. It was a show Love Club after party at Brunch Me Hard. It's in Sandy.
Yeah, Sunday's Best.
Yeah, Sunday's Best.
Yeah.
So they did like a pop up there. They had a bunch of people there, like Rare Roses.
I think I was there.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was there
Oh,
during the
sick.
day though.
During the day,
Yeah,
yeah,
I wasn't
yeah.
at the after party.
Yeah, so I'm pretty like good homies with all those dudes that run all those shops. Like T Brooks runs Brooks Workshop. Jacoby Morgan runs Show Love Club, and then I believe his name is Trey, runs Rare Roses with his brother Austin.
He's awesome. Yeah, Trey's great.
Super dope homies. And so they Taylor put me on, and like I guess they had somebody back out or whatever, and they're like, yo, you should come DJ the after party. I was like, for sure. I mean, it sounds weird, but like I would never think to DJ somewhere anywhere south of downtown.
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense because you said Sandy. I was like, where are you DJing in Sandy?
Yeah, it felt like super weird, but I was like, well, I mean, if they're doing like, I bet they're gonna pull a crowd. I'm not even worried about that.
Yeah.
And at that point, I just wanted like gigs, so I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so, yeah, I was DJing, and I obviously would like pulled up and was the first to DJ, but it got packed fast.
Really?
And it was like, I think at that point, that was probably the most people I had DJed for at the time. And I don't know. I transitioned Ultra Light Beam into Early 20 Rager by Uzi Vert.
Really?
There's a video of it. I don't. Oh, maybe it wasn't.
You got a clip?
I do have a clip. I don't know. Something about that, like just the vibe there, and like all the people there was just so ill. And I just heard, you can hear people in the video just like scream when I put that song on, and I'm just like, I don't know. The vibes there was super ill. I think that's probably one of my favorite moments for sure.
Yeah, if you have the clip, I could add it into the video and we're done.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's awesome. Yeah, because you see those kind of DJ moments online, or whether it's on like a TikTok or something, but like there's a certain feeling when something like that clicks, or like a song clicks with the crowd, that like it's kind of indescribable a little bit. Yeah,
and that was like I wouldn't say like that's the biggest moment ever. It wasn't like I was doing no drop or anything like that for like thousands of people or whatever.
Yeah.
But I also have like, there's a bunch of videos of like just me and like my best homies who like pretty much have the same music taste as me, like just dancing with me on stage. I have like a bunch of videos like of that, and like those aren't like killer moments in the grand scope of things, but for me, like I get off on just jamming with homies. So,
yeah, those are your favorite.
So like to me, I'm jamming with my homie, but I'm getting paid for it, and there's a shit ton of other people jamming as well.
Yeah, totally.
It's sick.
No, that's great. Could you talk us through the day leading up to the performance? Like the day of, like how is that different than just a regular day? Is it different? If it is, like, do you practice beforehand?
Yeah. The day, would you say day before or day of? Because I feel like those are two different days for me.
The day of.
Day of?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like day of, I don't practice like at all. I feel like I get all my practice in like weeks before. And like I usually spin every day, whether it's for like an hour or 2 hours. If it's the same music I'm always playing, or if I'm adding new music. I obviously should be adding new music all the time, but I go through phases where like I'm not finding anything. But more or less, I practice a bunch like the day before, and then the day of I just kind of relax, because I'm already like a huge stress case about everything, especially stuff that I care about. So I just try to like get good food and like just chill. I don't know.
Just relax before, because
like,
you know it's going to be kind of a heightened environment later.
Yeah. And it's like I literally will just not even care about what's going on until I step on the board, and then I'm like, and this could be like in any setting. Like I've DJed like just art shows for my homies. We have an art studio that's kind of over by the Gateway.
What's it called?
It's at Art Space City Center. It's the same place that.
Oh, the Sunny Ivy thing.
Yeah, it's right down the hallway from them.
Oh, sick.
That's mine and my homie's studio.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and
who's that? Can you shout him out?
Our studio is called Chroma, but it's kind of just a collective. I'm not in there right now. I don't go there as much as I used to. But Mason, that's my best friend. Evan's my roommate, also my best friend. They share it. Brooklyn's a painter. Brooklyn Day. Alex Grobstein, a painter. Both super talented painters.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Art shows there, and those were like some of my first DJ gigs actually. And that's not even like me trying to hype no crowd. That's just me playing background music.
Yeah.
My whole point was I would stress even before stuff like that.
You know which makes sense. It's just like any event is an event. Yeah.
I am performing. I'm playing background music, or I'm playing like crowd music. It doesn't matter. But like it's like the day of, I just try to chill and just think that I'm gonna have a great time no matter what happens, and then I
Yeah.
step on the board and then it just goes away.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I saw through your Instagram that you are a part of something called Corporate Afters. Could you talk about that?
Yeah. That's I was explaining to you maybe a little bit or before the interview. Corporate Afters, it's kind of like a brainchild that me and my homies put together. I think like we have always been super into like, and I'm sure like a lot of DJs say this, but like Boiler Room and stuff like that is all such like cool shit that like I feel like everybody wants to do, especially if you're a DJ. It's just a certain culture and environment that like is just about music, and I feel like that's like what I've always strived for in anything that I've done music related, and my homies too. So we were just kind of like brainstorming, like they were like, we should just do like our own DJ event and just really try to get like the essence of like what like Lot Radio and Boiler Room and like I always forget the names, but I watch a bunch of them. What those kind of DJ events do.
Yeah, just DJ events that are solely for the purpose of music, like you
People
said.
they're literally just dancing and listening to music. Like you rarely see them like talking to each other or whatever. It's like it's straight up. It doesn't matter what they're doing. They're just listening to the music.
Yeah, they're just
like,
present in the moment, which kind of makes for those insane moments you see.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so me and my homies just were like, let's just come up with a funky idea and see if we can run with it. And so. Initially, Corporate Afters was just like a brand that like me and my homie Mason kind of had developed. Like it was just it was, I wouldn't say it was like going to be a clothing brand. It was more or less like we were just coming up with like clothes and like product ideas and stuff for it. And when we had come up with the idea of like doing a DJ event, we felt that calling it Corporate Afters also made sense, and that we could kind of combine it all into one. Where if we wanted to make clothes, we could sell those clothes at the event. But it's essentially it's based off of like party culture in like the 70s and 80s, like Wall Street culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like it's bare bones what you do after you're done working all day.
Yeah, doing some corporate and then it's just going crazy after.
Yeah, but we were like just I don't know what it was, but like when we were designing these clothes, we were like just coming up with random ideas. We were looking at like old like stock market photos and like I don't know. It was just weird. We had this crazy like spin, like speedball effect where we were just finding all these crazy old photos of like stock market images of like those dudes, you know, at Wall Street or whatever, just going crazy and
just a cool thought experiment. Yeah,
it
that led
weird.
you to an idea.
But then we were like, I think that just works for a DJ event. And so we did our first one. I think it was July 8th or July 9th, I believe, just last summer. And we did it at our studio, and it was incredible. It turned out way better than I thought it would for our first time.
Yeah. That's
I think
awesome.
we did like over 120 people, and we can only fit like 100 people in that space.
Oh, it's sick. So it was for the space you had.
For the space, it was great. I saw everybody that I wanted to see, and I got to DJ with two of like my favorite DJs, which is Andy Doors and Radical Jones. Those are people that like I just think are amazing DJs, and I look up to a lot in the scene. So. And they wanted to be a part of it as well. So all the visuals and stuff we did for it, I did most of like the graphic design, and Owen helped me with shooting the visuals and did some of the editing. So
that's awesome.
It went well, but we're hopefully going to be doing another one soon. We were supposed to do one by the end of the year, but it's just taking a little bit longer than we expected. So we might throw it into the new year. We'll see.
Yeah, that's great.
As far as like making an event that's unique in and of itself, because obviously there's like 4 or 5 off the top of my head DJ events that are going on. But like I don't want to just be another DJ event, and I'm sure my homies don't want to do that either. So
you want to make it unique.
Yeah, so I think we're trying to provide like an essence that like you can't get at any other one. And obviously it's going to always be surrounding music, but like for instance, why I'm like such a big fan of Happy Wine Club is like obviously it's music centric, but it's also wine centric. It's for people who have great taste buds and great taste in music. You know what I mean?
And and there's a thematic kind of lining to it, which I think is which I think is good, because I think, and like everybody loves going to theme stuff, whether it's like a Christmas party or whatever, or like a family thing. Like people love doing that, or love like something you can't do just regularly. So I think that's great.
Yeah, I think the next one will be really good. I obviously wanted to do most of the art direction for it, but I was thinking of maybe kind of expanding and trying to find somebody else who could maybe do some art direction for it. So there's a an artist. She's like a traditional animation artist is what you would call it, where she just like draws and like makes her animation just by drawing, like how a cartoon
Like on
would.
paper and stuff. Wow.
Her name's Anna Firth. I think her Instagram is like tall girl or at Anna Firth or something, but she makes the coolest like traditional animation, and it's just like something it's like kind of has like that old like 70s vibe to it.
Yeah, it has that feel.
Yeah, I really can't explain it, but in my head it makes sense.
Yeah, no, you were talking about the vision off camera, but just like stuff that adds to that to make it this.
And so I've just been a huge fan of her, so I hit her up and was like, "Oh, would you be down to like do a flyer and like some visuals?" And so she was super down. So she's still going to be doing that. So when we get to a point where we like find a good venue and stuff, the vibes will be there for sure. And I think we want to try to make it this next time like, I wouldn't say like black tie, but maybe a little bit more dressy,
more formal, just to go play on the corporate thing.
Yeah, I would love to see people pull up in like some old like padded shoulder blazers and stuff.
Yeah,
like, I would love to see something like that.
Something crazy. Yeah, no, yeah. I feel like you could do it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You talked about off camera doing graphic design. You mentioned it a little bit here, but I was talking to somebody about this, but I feel like to be someone in a creative space nowadays, it doesn't really provide much if you just only do one thing. Like you can't really only be a DJ. You can't only be like a graphic designer, because there's so many other things that waver into you putting yourself out there. So what are ways that you like make yourself multifaceted as an artist to like grow your brand?
Oh yeah. I love that word, multifaceted. I use that all the time.
Yeah.
And explaining exactly what you're explaining right now.
Yeah.
But it's obviously like not a bad thing to be like the master of one trade. I think that you should strive to be really good at one thing, but it's never going to help you in the long run as far as like whether or not you want to get noticed or you just want to like heighten your creative IQ, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
By just doing one thing. I don't know. You like see those people who are like crazy talented at like piano, but then like that's just it.
Yeah, there's like, not really much else.
Really useful for like pulling up to like a studio session. Somebody needs you for that.
Yeah.
But that's like to the extent of what you're going to be able to do. And if they're happy with that, great. But I definitely think it's super important to try to learn how to do all your like everything in the creative process. You're not going to be good at all of it, but at least you have like a general sense of it. Because I think in the long run, that's just going to help you become a better creative.
Yeah, or you're capable in most of the stuff that you need to do, so you can really make something work on your own. Yeah,
and like I guess some anecdotal experience for me would be I grew up playing baseball, and shout out my dad. He, for some reason, out of all my siblings, wanted me to be ambidextrous, and started from like a very young age to teach me how to throw and hit like both ways.
Lefty and stuff?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he just would always tell me like, he's like, anybody can be like a great pitcher who like throws really fast right or left-handed, but like there's not that many great pitchers who can throw fast both hands.
Yeah.
And it like can always come in handy. And he's like, you should always be multidimensional, multifaceted in anything that you do.
Yeah.
And so obviously that's always rubbed off on me. And then I guess like another anecdotal example would be like, I'm a huge fan of Tyler, the Creator. I'm not like a Tyler stan by any means, but I grew up
you
listening
appreciate
to him.
it, yeah.
He's had his hand on everything in his whole process of music. Always made his own cover arts. He's always directed his own music videos. Obviously, always made his own beats.
Yeah.
And just, I think as a creative, he does everything, and I think that that's why he's so great. It's because you watch a video, you know it's a Tyler video. You know, see his clothes, you know Tyler made those clothes, or you design them. It's just, I think there's just something special about that.
I agree, because it's like if you get so proficient at everything surrounding the whole creative process, it's kind of like it's not even that it's just this piece of clothing that he's made. It's it's the world that the clothing piece lives in. It's like you can create such bigger and broader ideas if you really hone in like that. So I think it's great for any creative to do something like that.
Yeah, and obviously it's probably going to take a lot more time. And I think a lot of people are maybe a little bit intimidated by that.
Totally.
By like, they know they're a great photographer, but then they're like, but I don't know, it just seems like so much time that I got to like learn how to be a videographer, but they go hand in hand. So it's like, I don't know, you might as well learn all that.
And I think coming to that point of being like, oh, this is daunting, like I don't know if I can do this, it kind of shows It's weird to say if somebody's kind of about it or not, because if you aren't, you're not going to do it. You're just
Yeah.
going to default to the one thing, and that might not be able to take you to that place that you want to go.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think it's. I would tell anybody and everybody if you DJ, you make music, you paint or whatever, you should definitely be teaching yourself how to do all sorts of things. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't even have gotten my day job if it probably weren't for music. Like I wouldn't have gotten so interested in like 3D modeling and stuff like that if it weren't for just like trying to expand my creative horizon, I guess.
Yeah, or just
You know?
experiment in different things. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there someone in the Salt Lake DJ scene or just Salt Lake creative scene that you feel like doesn't get enough light shedded on them, or do you think people don't know about as much as you wish they did?
Man, that's a good question. There's a ton actually. I feel like
Yeah, sound
uh,
off. You can go 3 or 4 or 5 people.
I mean, even since like I was probably had turned like 17 or 18 when I first started like meeting a lot of those people. There's probably been like 4 or 5 off the top of my head who I think are like, whether or not they're like super well known, I think they're super deserving of like a lot more exposure. But
Yeah.
I definitely think I'll group this crew in, but Aiden and his homies, 7 Wing Money. Do you know them?
No, I don't.
They're just like a huge creative collective. They all make music, do design and stuff like that. Maya Summers is in that crew.
He's great. His
yeah.
stuff is amazing.
Yeah, he's incredible. Tian, he's an amazing graphic designer. He's worked with like Feist and Felt and stuff like that. He's great. Ben Raw, he's in that crew. Banky, he's in that crew as well. And I think his name is Mike. I'm not super familiar with him, but I've met him a few times.
Yeah.
Just that whole crew is like super unique to me, and I've known them for a long time, and I think they're super, super talented kids.
Yeah,
with
that's
just
great.
a whole different vibe than I've seen downtown, or just I don't know, in the whole state. I
Yeah,
guess.
just very
But,
inspiring. Yeah.
another, obviously Maya Summers, he's an incredible producer. He's also an incredible DJ. I'd love to see him get a lot more shine.
Yeah, I would too.
I think a lot of people know him, but I do want to give him a huge shout out because he's a big inspiration to me. Is Lander? Do you know Lander?
I think I'm familiar with, but I don't like know him.
Yeah, he helps like kind of co-run Happy Wine Club, but he's done like a multitude of things.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel
he's
the
been in
scene.
the scene for a while, right?
Yeah. And I met him like super early on, and like just to see his like where he started to like how great he is now is like been, and I tell this to like everybody who I talk to him about. He's just like super inspirational to me, and I feel like he has a super unique style.
Yeah.
And he seems like anything he does creatively, he's just good at. I don't know. Like I didn't even know he DJ'd until like fairly recently, and then I just realized how great of a DJ he was.
You watched him once and you were like, wow, this guy he can do it all.
Yeah, he performed at like some of the wine clubs, obviously, but then he like, I don't know, just it's like anytime I see him, that dude's just like super good.
Yeah.
Like what he touches. And so I try to like spit game with him as much as I can to like learn things.
Yeah, that's sick.
And then I guess one more, and I'll loop these people in as well, but Andy Doors and Josh, I already spoke to you about them.
Yeah.
They're super great DJs, and I would love to see them get a lot more recognition as well.
I've seen Andy live at a Rainbow Room, and it was amazing.
Yeah. They spin really unique music. They're really unique about how they go about it, and they teach me a lot. So I'm a little biased, but
yeah,
they're great.
No, that's great. I think the final thing I just want to ask before we end is what's one thing that's currently inspirational to you or just inspires you in your art or in your day-to-day life? Like, could be anything.
I like bare bones. I feel like I'm like really on like just colors right now, and like I've been reading like a lot of books that some homies put me on about just like color studies.
Yeah, color theory and stuff.
Yeah, color theory. I don't know. In the grand scope of things, like obviously like colors don't really relate to music. I bet you could see colors when you're listening to music. I've heard people say that or whatever.
Or if you apply them, it'll give a different like feel. Yeah.
Yeah, but like when it comes to like any sort of design or like clothes or any artsy thing that I'm into, I'm just like really big on color coordination right now. But aside from that, I don't know. I've been just like really trying to like find really weird stuff on like YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like whether it be like weird animated series or like people's pages that like they make shit. I don't know. They're like there's like these this like crazy scene of like inventors on YouTube where they like make these like little contraptions and it's like super random.
You ever seen those people that like build the whole houses just from the ground up?
Yeah,
kind of stuff like that.
I follow
Probably
a dude
little
on
different.
Instagram that's like building a log cabin.
Yeah. No, but that stuff is sick. I mean, like just to think that you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, stuff like that. I don't know. I get like really fixated.
Yeah.
Pretty hard on stuff, and like I had like a weird fixation on like nuclear fission and like science shit that like has nothing to do with what I'm interested in, but it's the fact that like I just like love learning about random shit and like I was like looking
really
at
great
like
detail.
Yeah, and like even just like reading about it, like watching videos and stuff is great, but like looking at like the weird diagrams and stuff like that I have no idea how to read.
Yeah, or just learning
just, like,
it.
Looks sick. I don't know. It's just like stuff that keeps my mind peaked, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool. It just keeps you kind of mentally on your toes of just learning something new.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah. Well, thank you for having this conversation.
Yeah, bro,
I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. See you guys on the next one.